Hey, welcome to today's video. Today we'll make these serving boards as well as these super functional mini chopping boards. This is a very common thing in Germany and Austria when you do broadside or Jausn, so I hope you enjoy. Unlike you, I'm not too sure if this actually worked. So I'm planning to do multiple cutting boards or display boards or caricatures, whatever that's called. I have like some hardwood in that, and they make great presents in that, and I promised the odd person to try and make some. So in my my family, especially from Austrian side and even German side, it's quite common to do what we call Jausn or broadside, which is like to eat cold meats and that, and everyone gets a wooden board where they cut their whatever on it. So I'm going to make a set of those out of the beech. I have this chestnut left. Now chestnut's not really ideal for like a chopping board because it's open grain from what I read. So this one will just be more for display and serving purposes. But I've got this board that I don't really know what else to do with, and I thought it's just there. Let's make it. So I have some extra presents. And then I'm going to try and make a serving chopping board out of the oak and this walnut. This is just something I always see on YouTube that looks really cool. It's my first attempt at sort of doing some inlay on a chopping board kind of thing. So I'm gonna try that. I don't know if it's gonna work. You obviously already know, or at least have a clue. But yeah, let's get cracking. I'm gonna try and cut down the boards to the sizes. I need to split the beech and try and get a thin sliver of this, followed by which I'll focus on the oak one, because I need to do that wavy cut. I might change the saw blade. I'll see how it goes through there, and then try and glue that all up and go from there. So yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, minor few mishaps with the splitting, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to plane them down so they're roughly the same. They don't have to be the same size. I am thinking I will make them all the same shape so that you can pack them away together. Anyway, this cutting went really nice. It's pretty smooth. I can't remember if at this point you should sand it down. I kind of feel we should at least just give it a once over so it's flush like any other glue up. But the idea is we take one of these and, not this one. This is the first one I cut, but I don't know if I'll get enough pressure. It's quite, this walnut is super strong, so I must probably take the thicker of these finer two. And the idea is we put it in here and we clamp it up, and then we have a beautiful wavy dark line. I'll see whichever one is the most consistent. It's going to take a lot of pressure, but we will see what happens. I'm going to do a dry run in a second, but I feel like I'm just going to sand these down just once over super quick, and then obviously this as well, just so that we have as much surface that's smooth to stick this together. So I'm going to glue that up, and then I'm going to get the jointer and joint these to the right thickness that I want. Let's keep going. I mean, it's gonna look pretty good, I think. But there's a few places where I'm gonna have to plane it down and see. There's one place where it's not fully joining in. I think that's because this isn't a perfect thickness. Now, it was super tough. I know I was taking a shortcut. Normally, you should plane it to the right thickness, but I think it'll work anyway. Let me just clean up the glue. I mean, this is just a quick project to try it. And let's go from there. Yay! Planing! This is the worst part, because it takes so long. Okay, and now comes the fun part. I get to design what these will look like. So for these here, I'm gonna go, like this is a traditional, just a very simple shape. I'm just gonna replicate that. What I might do though is, I just saw that my pieces are quite a bit bigger, so I might just enlarge it. So I'll do one and use that as a template for the others. Then for this piece, it's got a split, and because this is just supposed to be like a serving thing, I'll do something more freehand on here. So I'm gonna quickly design all of that, and then go about changing the blade on my bandsaw so that I can do a bit tighter curves, cut one out, get it to the perfect shape that I want, and then use that as a template for all the others. And what I'll do is I'll draw it on, cut close to it, and then use a templating bit on the router like I've used for a few others, and make them all identical so that when you stack them, they look the same. And these, I will just cut out. I don't know if I'll put finger holes in these. I don't know, maybe these are more like cheese boards where you can present cheese. That's what I'm thinking to do with this. I could also make one long board. Maybe that's a good idea. A long board with a handle. That's what I'll do out of this one. So let's go. And there we go. So I'm just gonna sand it out and make sure that's all perfectly smooth and just the way I want it. And then this will be our template. We can write our guide along. So there's like a few corners here where I'm just gonna use a sander to flatten that out, and then in here as well. And use it as a template to cut out all the others. So they're all the same except for this one here. This is the odd one out. I didn't use enough tape on that one because I wanted to make it easier to take it apart, so I slipped a little bit. But yeah, now I'm just gonna do a round over, then these will be done. We just need to sand them all with all the rest. I'll also round over the big one. Okay, so I've drilled 3 holes here so that it's more of a handhold. I'm just gonna use a jigsaw to straighten that up in essence. So I want to like, just sort of give it a bit of an arc, and here as well. And because I'll round over this inside quite heavily, it is okay to just sort of rough cut that with a jigsaw. There we go. Sadly, I had chip out, and I don't know why. I must have slipped somewhere. In this one, there's a few that I need to check over now and fix. Like on the edge, we've got a little bit of burning from the piece, which we can sand out. But the thin ones, like here, when I have to sand that a little bit and fix some of that. But here we have this whole thing chip out. Bit of hand sanding. But you know, it's not the end of the world. These are, they don't have to be perfectly the same, right? It's going to be used for cutting and stuff. As long as they have sort of a uniform look. But yeah, so beech seems to burn quite a lot, and the thin ones, this bit was a little bit high, so I'm gonna have to sand that off by hand just to finish the round over. But overall, I think I'm quite happy with the look. Even with this one, you can sort of hold it like this to serve something. I think that should give you, I mean, it's gonna be quite tough, but you know, depending how you want to use it, it works really well. I quite like it. Okay, it's been a week and I didn't get time to look at this, so it's been clamped for a week. I guess the glue can't be any drier, so let's open it, have a look what we have, and then go from there. So it's looking pretty good. There sadly are some gaps here. I don't know if it's gone all the way through. I don't think so. I think it's just at the top edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this sort of piece that's sticking out off, and then I'm going to run it through the planer a few times. I've been thinking it's quite thick. Maybe I'll cut it in half, but depending how far these gaps are, I might change my mind. But yeah, let's have a look. This is looking pretty good. There's a minute little gap here. And I just saw the reason that I have these is because the strip of wood isn't uniform, because I was being lazy and tried to take a shortcut. So it's a bit of a bummer, but I can fix that by filling that in. Over here you can see where it's consistent is absolutely perfect. I have a gap at the end, but I always knew that because it really thins out here. But yeah, so my only thought is it's still quite thick, so I'm wondering if I should try and cut this in half, which I hate doing because I really suck using my bandsaw. But you know, practice makes perfect, so I'm kind of tempted to do that, and then I'll get 2 boards, and then they can be like more serving boards, because you know, you wouldn't use this for a chopping board anyway on oak. I would rather want edge grain. But so yeah, I think that might be an option. So I'll just joint this side so it's perfectly flat, or both sides maybe, just so that I can run it down the bandsaw, change the bandsaw blade, and quickly try and cut that in half. So wish me luck. Haha, success! And look at that, they look pretty good. So I can see on this end there's a gap all the way through, sadly. And then here, similar thing, but let's plane them down and then we'll go from there. So I've been umming and ahhing about what to do with them. I wanted them to be identical, but the inlay glue up wasn't a great job. Definitely lessons learned there. Make sure that the inlays are perfect. I was hoping that with the pressure it would just sort of squeeze it together, but I didn't think about it not being the same thickness at the height of it. I mean, the length of it I knew, and I thought, that'll be fine, but the height of it's different. So there are some gaps. On this board there's less, so let's see if you can see it. There's less, so the design will be a bigger board. And here it's a bit different. I just freehanded this. We'll see what they look like. I don't think they're going to be the most amazing looking ones from the shape, but you know, there's something rustic around that. So I'm going to quickly cut those out, do the same round over that I did on the others, and then it's loads and loads of sanding. And then we're ready at the final step with finishing. So let's get on with it. Right, so after literally an hour and a half of sanding, going through all the grits, we're finally done. As a finish, I'm just going to use pure mineral oil. It's food safe, it's designed for chopping boards, etc. You can get different quality if you're strapped for cash. I know IKEA does one that works pretty well that they sell with their chopping boards. This is a specific one I ordered a while ago. It lasts quite a while. I don't do many chopping boards. Plus you can mix this with wax to make like a food safe wax finish. So yeah, I think I'm going to start with these because these will pop the nicest. Quite keen to see what that looks like. Really work it in on the sides as well, super important. And be quite, with this finish, you need to be quite liberal. We'll wipe it off right at the end, but we need it to soak in a bit, so it's okay if it's a bit oily, or if you use a little bit too much, although that's maybe way too much, but you know, if you use too much, you'll wipe it off after. The idea is that you let it soak in. So, I mean, that looks, I think that the visual effect of this is fantastic. So we're going to do the other one as well. So there we have it. 9 chopping boards, or I can't remember what the English word is. It? I must probably blend it in with that, you know, annoying version of myself. But yeah, I guess serving boards or something, whatever you want to use them for. It was quite an easy project to do, fairly straightforward. Biggest pain point in this is obviously the sanding, but you know, sanding is always the pain point. But yeah, I think even these turned out really, really good. I actually like the fact that I'll come closer, that I cut it through here because you have a really cool effect on that handle. It's quite nice. I mean, it's just for display purposes. They're not supposed to be the most usable. If you want to make a usable one, you just make a chef's chop block, right? So yeah, overall, very, very happy. Very, very oily too. Yeah. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. I deliberately wanted to make something simple that anyone else can do again, and I know this is like one of the most common projects that people do, but I think it's very unique. Like, everyone does something different, you know, and there's some really, really cool ones out there with really fancy inlays. Fisher did one on his channel. I'll link that in, and I think that looks really, really epic, and that's something I'm going to try going forward for sure. Have learned quite a few doing this stuff, so, but yeah, happy that I could have a present for one of my followers out there, so I'm sure that they will appreciate these. And that's it. So I think, please, you know, subscribe, hit the like always, and I'll catch you later.